got SteadyStack NFT, but it's not your usual NFT project. So you guys are definitely going to want to pay attention to this one. We are quite literally doing the opposite of what everybody else in the space is doing, and that's what makes us so unique. This is the future of NFTs. This is how we're going to reinvent NFTs for a more sustainable future. If you guys want to take a picture of this, those are our Twitters, that's our Discord. Definitely hop in there so you guys can learn more and follow along. Our background, then, take it away.
So just a little bit of background about us, why we qualified to speak on the things that we're speaking on, and what are we bringing in terms of our experience into the space that's going to be able to revolutionize the way things are currently being done, which we believe that there's quite a few red flags as we develop and improve in the space. So we built a multi-eight-figure business where over the last 5 years we've experienced over a 200x growth from our initial conception of the businesses that we've developed, primarily in the digital marketing space and developing passive income streams and assets for our clientele. We've also developed a broad base of technology and software through our software development company that we've staffed out in Pakistan. So a lot of experience in technology development. For school, I went to school primarily for neurobiology and computer science. So we're developing a lot of the, or utilizing a lot of the things that we've learned to develop in the Web3 space.
Exactly, and the biggest thing that's missing from the NFT space is that business experience. And we're also bringing our software background to NFTs as well, again, so that we can actually have a more sustainable future, not just based on speculation, pictures, etc.
And one thing to mention is also, like, we've been able to build this organization with no investor dollars whatsoever, completely bootstrapped the company from zero. And so what that's done is it's given us an ability to develop cash flow from a place of not a lot. And so when you can do that, your business and the fundamentals that you bring to your organization change because you're operating in a manner that's lean and you're not just throwing investor dollars over.
Again, that's the exact opposite of how it currently works, right? People are raising millions of dollars. They're saying, hey, give me 50 mil, I'm going to go build a metaverse, right? Whereas we come from a different background. We start from zero and we generate cash flow. And I think that's exactly what the NFT space needs because, you know, right now, NFTs are positioned as the next 100x opportunity. And I don't blame that on anyone, right? It starts with something like Bored Ape. And really, you know, NFTs as a whole and this boom and bust is really just a sign of market inefficiency, right? So what happens is there's something like Bored Ape, it starts to go up like crazy, and so creators see an opportunity of, hey, I can make a bunch of cash, and investors see the opportunity of, hey, I can make a bunch of cash by investing in this crap, right? And so it really was just market inefficiency, and that's why it timed at the top of the market. Second is there's no cash flow being generated besides trading volume, and so that's the whole problem. In business, if you don't have sustainable, predictable, and scalable cash flow, you're not going to make it anywhere. You can't expand. And so that's one of the biggest issues. You'll see projects going from making hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in the bull to literally not making anything in a bear market like this. And so lastly, no business fundamentals, no recurring mechanisms beyond future drops. It's just going to end up diluting yourself, right? Drop after drop after drop. There's nothing actually there that's substantiated. People using buzzwords like meta, P2E, which we know are highly unprofitable. The guy before us just came up here, 1,000 users. How are you making money, right? Facebook spent $10 billion on the metaverse, and they're nowhere close to actually profiting as a model, right? So we need to understand this, and we need to rewrite what NFTs are so that the masses don't just think that we're scams, because they do, right?
And so what we want everyone to be able to internalize today is at the end of the day, NFTs truly, purely serve as digital verification of assets. That's the #1 use case for what NFTs are. And that's what, when people look at them, they're like, oh my God, that's what can be done. When you go buy a piece of real estate, you need your deed. Why is that not digital? Why is that a piece of paper? When I went out and bought my car, I got a title. Why did it need to be shipped to me?
And title agencies are the biggest scam of all time. You know that, right? And so literally what NFTs do is they replace that intermediary and they make it easier to transact between two parties, right? And so that's what makes them a digital receipt. They best function as extensions of businesses. You'll hear Gary Vee say this all the time, not standalone collections. Future of interaction between business and customer, and then this is where it gets really exciting. You know, everybody wants an NFT that can go up 100x, right? But that's just unsustainable. That's why you have these boom and bust. Whereas if you can have more of like an SBT approach, right? Soul-bound tokens, these can't actually be transferred. Instead, it's just a receipt that you can then use as a token inside the ecosystem, you know, gamified. You now have the future of
and it's not to say that NFTs should not be traded. They absolutely can and should be traded, but in a manner where they're tied to utility and you're buying and selling and exchanging true utility. At the end of the day, if you're not exchanging true utility, you're you're going to see what happened in our recent bear market. 99% of NFTs are down more than 70% from their highs. At the end of the day, Hassan and I have invested multi-six figures into crypto, NFTs, different kind of things. Very few of them who are holders of one of the top 5 NFTs have even held even 90% of their value or 10% of their value from highs. So that's the thing.
The bear market shows this. Like at the end of the day, you can't get away with saying, hey, I'm going to raise $50 million and build the next metaverse in a bear market because people see right through you. And so this is why we've still been able to gain massive traction in a time like this, because there's real world value being exchanged in the form of a business, in the form of a product, right? And so what is SteadyStack NFT? We're basically, reinventing NFTs. We're bringing traditional software and subscription models from Web 2 into Web 3. And we're just changing the current flawed metas, leading by example. Essentially what we call ourselves is an investor Illuminati. That's kind of what our community is based upon. Access and proximity to top investors, network resources, and exclusive investment opportunities as well. That's where our software that we were talking about earlier, it's actually a trading software algorithm. That's where that comes to play in this as well, because it's only accessible by holding this NFT.
And so when you hear about, NFTs are best used as an extension of an already operating business, because at the end of the day, when you use your dollars to go out and buy something, you're buying value, you're transacting value. And a business, for those of us that don't perhaps have MBAs or run a business, is that the best source of revenue in an organization is remonetizing your customers. And that's why being able to do that through something like a subscription NFT is so valuable. What we did was, you want to go into that?
Yeah, so basically this is where it gets exciting, right? We're literally doing everything in the NFT space differently than what people before have done. And so, number one, we've handpicked a majority of our whitelist. Over 80% of our whitelist is handpicked, right? And so you don't really see this in the space. Number two, we actually have had pre-mint value in our Discord existing for the past 4 months. So nobody can come and look at this and say, hey, this may be a rug or this value isn't there, because there has been clear value for 4 months on tap inside the community showing proof.
And then on top of that, what we have on top of that in terms of the SaaS NFT is we're actually bringing a technology to the space that already exists in Web 2, is already generating multi-six figures in revenue yearly, and now we're being able to issue it or offer it to the space, in the NFT space, through that technology.
And then the last piece is cash flow generating mechanisms for longevity. Again, the reason why all these projects fail is because there's no cash flow beyond trading volume. So when you take away the trading volume, they die. You can't expand a business that doesn't have revenue and profits, right? And so the number one way we're generating cash flow inside of our ecosystem is the SteadyStack algorithm. It's a SaaS NFT subscription, and so like Zan said, we already have an operating Web 2 business, which is for this software subscription, but now bringing it to the NFT world, bringing it to Web 3, because now you actually have digital proof of this asset, and then you can redeem those tokens, right? They're not tradable tokens, but you can redeem them for other pieces of value within the ecosystem. A couple other things, Zan and I in our Web 2 businesses, we also run an automated YouTube channel operation where we manage over 130 YouTube channels. These channels typically net 5 to 10K a month by month 18. And then same with crypto mining, we also run a crypto mining operation. And so we're bringing these methods into NFTs. Why? Because they will generate cash flow. So instead, what most people do is they take that 3 million or 5 million, 10 million, 50 million that they raise, they leave it in ETH, right? Or they turn it into USDC and they kind of just sit on it, right? Well, what can we do to actually produce cash flow from that? For example, with YouTube, we put 30K into a channel, we can generate 5 to 10K a month within 18 months. Well, now we can actually scale and expand. We're taking our treasury assets and using that to then be able to reinvest and expand. Same thing with crypto mining, and this is actually something that doubles as an opportunity to our holders, is that retail mining is currently unprofitable. At 18 cents per kilowatt, you are unprofitable mining Bitcoin, right? 24 cents per kilowatt is the average retail, and we get our electricity for 5 to 7 cents. Right? And so when we're mining, we're still profitable in this bear market. You cannot get access to this unless you're on an institutional level.
So we have 20 seconds left for one question. So key question, and I think that you started off saying that you're going to be the anti-NFT as a service company. But I missed how you're going to create a community, if there's an element there.
Yeah.
Also, are you generating revenue? Like I would start with that, or at least include it in your pitch, because that to me is like the big takeaway is that you guys are actually creating revenue. So what type of revenue, what type of users do you have?
Absolutely. So we haven't
You're out of
officially
time.
launched yet, but right now we do have 10,000 people in our Discord. There is a very active and engaged community. And in terms of revenue, I mean, as soon as we launch, there will be a recurring aspect that we will be able to